3 is a vehicle that has underperformed in sales for the past few years and continues to decline as SUVs become more and more popular. But however, the Mazda 3 is also a vehicle that overperforms in every aspect virtually. And it's a vehicle that Mazda has thrown everything into coming up to the 2024 and 2025 model year. So why has the Mazda 3 underperformed in sales compared to all their vehicles that continue to grow, especially their SUVs, like the Mazda CX-90? We're going to dive into that and we're going to find out. So starting with the exterior of the vehicle, Mazda has taken a lot of attention to detail, when making this design. It is made with their Kodo design, which we've become very familiar with. The Kodo design is when a vehicle tries to evoke motion while it's sitting. And I can definitely say the Mazda does that. As you take a look at the side, you can notice that the vehicle does not have tons of hard lines or, jagged lines. It's mostly curvy, and that makes the light and the reflections bend really weirdly with the design, and it gives it a very special aspect. Also, Mazda has taken a lot of attention to detail with the little luxury features on their vehicle to make their vehicle more special. The Mazda 3 has little things like pulsing turn signals on the front and rear. It has a front air dam offered on the turbo and splitter offered on the turbo. And it really shows how much Mazda cares about showing those little things and those little details to make sure people know that they want this to be a premium vehicle that can compete with vehicles like the S3. The exterior sort of reminds me of that Ferrari that everybody seems to compare the CX-30 to, if you've seen those memes online, and the Ferrari taillight specifically because of those halo designs on the front and rear. I really love this design. I think that Mazda did an amazing job, and I think that it's a design that is particularly timeless. It kind of annoys me when brands go for what is trendy instead of what will be timeless, because it really doesn't show how good they are at design. It just shows that you can adapt what's in the now. So I'm glad that Mazda has gone with a design that, even after 5 years of being in production with this generation, can still look fresh and still, turn heads as it drives down the street. Another thing, Mazda has also, like I said, they're throwing everything they have at this vehicle. We now see more special editions added to the Mazda 3, like the carbon turbo, which has the zircon sand metallic paint and the terracotta interior like the CX-50. And we have the carbon edition, which has been available since 2021, which has polymetal exterior, polymetal gray, and the red interior from the Mazda 6. interior, Mazda has also taken a lot of attention to detail in here too. They have little luxury features like the heated seats, you have heated steering wheel, you have a 12-speaker Bose audio system, which is actually custom made by Bose in 2019. The Bose audio system has been adapted to be specifically for the Mazda 3 and was designed around the Mazda 3's architecture, and now is used in a lot of Mazda vehicles. The reason I bring up the Mazda 3's Bose sound system and I emphasize how it is particularly made for the Mazda 3 is because you might say that any Bose sound system is made for every vehicle that it's put in, but this is a sound system that was actually changed to have the bass emitifiers go into the cowls of the vehicle so that it may emit bass more effectively and with less rattling. So Mazda and Bose have worked together for a long time and have come together to make really amazing sound systems, and this is a sound system that has been time and time again highly approved by all of people that reviewed it. So that's another thing that makes this a very luxurious vehicle, which is that the sound system can compete with the Meridian and the other sound systems that are offered on Mercedes, BMW, and etc. The Mazda 3 also has some new tech on the interior. It now has a 10.25 inch screen instead of the 8.5 inch or 9 inch screen that it had. So it also has a new wireless charger. The wireless charger originally was still offered in 2019 up until now, but it has been moved from the center console up to the cup holders area and the storage area. So now it's more accessible and it's not impeding on a storage space like that. Another thing I want to highlight about the interior is that Mazda took the time to include curvature and different placement of the vents, and I think this is very fitting for the vehicle, of course, because the exterior shows a lot of curvature, but this also shows that Mazda wanted to go with something less normal and conventional with the interior, and something that will make people a lot more starstruck when seeing it in person and a lot more shocked. And another thing is that it's covered in leather and nice materials and soft touch materials, which shows Mazda's attention to detail and their commitment to their luxury status or their premium status. Moving on to the performance, this is also one of the highlights of the Mazda 3. The Mazda 3, however, was not, some people mistake it as a Type R competitor or a Golf R competitor, and that's not what it is at all. It's more of a vehicle that has been made to just offer more power and more refinability with the vehicle, especially when they're trying to reach that premium status. So the Mazda 3 offers 250 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque, and these numbers lead to Mazda being able to reach a 0 to 60 of 5.6 seconds with the Mazda 3. So this just shows that it's not something that they're looking to make a extra performance vehicle, but it is something that they want to be able to compete with the luxury people with. So another thing that I can highlight about the drive dynamics is the steering. People have complimented Mazda again and again and again about their handling dynamics with the Mazda 3, and this can be attributed to the G-Vectoring Control Plus. G-Vectoring, basically what it does is it uses Mazda's Skyactiv G all-wheel drive system to pull the vehicle where you're steering, and this gives the vehicle a much more stable and direct handling feeling when you're driving it. Continuing with the ride of the vehicle, Mazda also has deeply researched stabilization and suspension and how the human body works with it. So essentially what they've done is they've tuned the suspension to be more in sync with the human body. And what I mean by that is, for example, in the Straight Pipes video, they said that the vehicle virtually had no nosedive when you're sitting in the driver's seat.
But the best part is there's no nosedive under braking, like nothing. So the car from the outside looks like it has nosedive, but the way they tune the suspension, it doesn't feel like it has nosedive.
In the presentation, they talked about something weird where they tuned something and there's like a 5-degree thing that your eyes don't notice.
So Mazda has tuned it to be more comfortable and more stable for the driver and the passenger when you're in it versus other vehicles. The only negative I can really give about the driving dynamics of the Mazda 3 is that people have claimed that it is not as consistent as it should be, because the Mazda 3, you know, it can do 5.6 seconds 0 to 60 on a good day, but sometimes it does 6.9, almost 7 seconds. So people have made complaints that, you know, it's not as consistent as it should be, but that's also kind of on brand for what Mazda's going for, as they're not going for a performance vehicle, they're going for a vehicle that just has power and good driver dynamics. So that's what I think about that. Okay. In my opinion, the Mazda 3 is a mighty competitor, when we're talking Toyota Corolla, Honda Civic hatch, and maybe even vehicles like the S3, which I've said multiple times. So why doesn't it sell as much? This could be because of people's lingering connection between Mazda and Ford, or it could be because of who knows what. But it does not sell as much as it should, and it makes me wonder, will Mazda continue to develop it in the later years? Mazda, like I said, has thrown everything they have at this vehicle. It kind of reminds me of the 911. The 911 has been constantly revised and just improved upon, rather than taking away everything and completely redesigning it. They've just improved upon that design and improved upon that performance over the years, and Mazda has kind of done the same thing over these past 5 years. So I just wonder, since Mazda is throwing basically everything they have at this vehicle, including the new tech that they have, will this mean that the Mazda 3 is going to be discontinued in the next few years? I really hope not, as I'm a Mazda fanboy. This is one of my favorite vehicles, and I know a lot of people can relate to that. But how it's looking, Mazda has now had this in production for 5 years, and I don't see any sign of a redesign. So I'm just really hoping that they're not planning to axe the Mazda 3. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and please like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.